Normalize audio, normalize audio, normalize audio. I say that at the very beginning to normalize the audio so that way it doesn't sound weird. How's it going, fellas? As I like to say, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be a new thing that I'm going to say at the beginning of my videos, or it has been for a bit. Today, we're just going to be ranting. We're just going to be talking and ranting. I'm going to be talking about stuff in my life. I'm going to be talking about things, opinions I have about things going on, or like just in general. There is some gameplay in the background. It's just going to be messing around with stuff. I think I have the audio turned nearly all the way down. I might turn it all the way down because this isn't meant to be about the audio. I'll turn it down to 3. How about that? Or sorry, this isn't meant to be about the gameplay. It's literally just me ranting. And what is the purpose of these rants? Again, it's just kind of to talk about stuff. So, um, to start with, I guess, uh, let me clarify immediately that I have absolutely no plan on what I'm going to be talking about. I'm just going to kind of figure it out as I go. You guys ever watch so there's this channel called, like McNasty, right? I don't know if you know McNasty. Yeah, you can barely hear it, but it's like nothing. There's this channel called McNasty, and they have, he used to have a channel called Box Talks. And that channel, he would like rant about stuff. So that's kind of the vibe that I'm going to be giving off for this. So, yeah, let's just start. Um, for starters, I've been like kind of going down like a YouTube rabbit hole of sorts, and I've been like looking up videos that I'm just thinking like, huh, very interesting. For example, I found out about this channel called Jubilee, and they have a bunch of different types of videos, but the one that catches my eye the most is a series called Odd Ones Out, and in that series, they kind of, as the name implies, have one odd person out. So they have like 6 people that are like part of the same category slash group of people, and then one person who's the odd one out. And this is a very fascinating, a very interesting series, and I thought it was kind of cool. Uh, the I guess the thing that really catches my eye the most about it is whenever they have stuff that I can like actually like listen to, or if they have like videos that I can like genuinely react to. I haven't uploaded a video of that type. I don't think they're very good. I think they're interesting for me personally, but I don't think they're very good. Like my reactions, not the original videos. The original videos are damn good, but my reactions aren't that good, so I ended up not actually uploading them. But I still have them on my computer. I might upload them and enlist them, but it's literally just like a blank screen for most of it. It's very like not that good, but the idea of it is kind of interesting. So I don't know. Maybe I might like try and figure out a way to incorporate that into a future video of sorts. Who knows? Um, the Oh yeah, I've been getting into like I've completely fallen off by every sense of the imagination. I've completely fallen off of multiplayer games. I'm just not interested in competitive gaming anymore. I've really lost my drive to play competitive games, which is a shame because I used to be really enjoying competitive games. I used to be all about Rainbow Six Siege and even Fortnite to a certain extent, less so Fortnite, but still, I mean, I had a interest in Fortnite to a certain extent, and I just completely entirely lost my interest in Fortnite, unfortunately. It's just not fun. It's too sweaty is the biggest problem. The problem with modern gaming is it's way too sweaty. It's genuinely not enjoyable to play games when everybody is tryharding their ass off, and it's a shame because I want to enjoy those games, but it's made very difficult for me to enjoy the games because I have to be like on top of everything. And some people, I envy people who are able to enjoy games when they're not doing well. Like if they're getting their ass kicked and they're just losing every single round, they're going 0-6 every single round, and they're still having the time of their lives. I envy that. I am not that way. If I'm getting my ass kicked, I just don't want to play the game. That's not to say that I won't play a game if I'm losing. It's not to say that I'm like a sore loser and I need to win every single game, because that's not the case. But it's more just that my threshold for losing is very minimal. As in, I if I start getting my ass kicked and I'm not enjoying a game, I'll just quit. Like straight up. I'm just like, this isn't fun. I'm not going to subject myself to this anymore because I'm not enjoying myself. I would rather go do something else that I can enjoy. Does that make sense to all of you guys? Because to me, that's just how I feel, and that's just unfortunate, you know? Because I used to enjoy these games, but I stopped playing them for a bit, and the thing is, I've kind of overtaken that with a much more enjoyable thing that is playing single player games. Like I've been playing a lot of single player experiences recently, and I'm having the time of my life. I enjoy it so much. I just been like, you know, I've been playing. If you watch any of the channels, I've been playing. Well, most notably Surge Media Gaming too. I've been playing Slay the Spire. I've been playing Papers, Please. I've been playing obviously modded Halo, which is what I'm doing right now. I've been playing uh, Super Auto Pets. Uh, yeah, and even I've been playing some of the other Halos on my Xbox. I played through the entirety of Halo Infinite, Halo 5 Guardians, and Halo Wars 2 within a 1 week time span, and I had a lot of fun playing it. I genuinely like, even though a lot of people talk negatively about Halo 5 Guardians, I genuinely enjoyed my time playing it. That's not a joke. That's not exaggeration. I enjoyed playing Halo 5 Guardians. That's not to say, and I even kind of want to play it again, but just in a different uh on a different difficulty, like on easy or something like that, right? Because I was playing on normal and it was just like, oh, it was a hassle. Same with Halo Infinite. I kind of want to replay Halo Infinite, but not on heroic because it was a bit of a hassle. I mean, I did it obviously. It's not like it's a skill issue or anything. I just think I would have enjoyed it better if I was able to have a wider variety of strategies available to me due to the lower difficulty. You know what I mean? What I'm saying makes sense. If it doesn't make sense to you, then you're just uh, I don't know. I'm not going to talk negatively about people. Speaking about negativity, I feel like there is so much. That's not the Halo 2 needler. Oh, I guess it doesn't. I can't spawn it in. Okay, sorry. Um, I feel like people are just getting way over the top when it comes to negativity online. Like I've been seeing so much negativity. I've been seeing so much gender war crap online. If you go online, you kind of know what I'm talking about, right? From people who are probably chronically online, and it's sad because some people are getting so wrapped up in all the negativity and stuff that they're just not enjoying their life, and it's sad to see. um I wish that people would just be less obsessed with the kind of stuff that they see and hear online and just kind of enjoy and live their life. And honestly, and to a certain extent there are some aspects of it that I get it, right? I get it. And this, I'm going to probably go branch off into a different rant in a second. But like, if you are getting consumed by a lot of this negativity online, I to a certain extent, I understand, right? Because you are looking for a reason and explanation as to why things are going your way, and you see people online having either similar issues or, you know, something just makes sense to you. You see other people online talking about something, and it just makes sense to you. And you have an assumption that, okay, that's the reason why. And it could be the reason why, but more than likely, it's just other people propagating negativity. And going back to the gender war thing, people just recently online, I've just been seeing a whole thing about people attacking each other or like a lot of negativity between men and women. And I'm going to just say this straight up right now. This is my stance, take it as you will. I have an assumption and I have a feeling that this is mostly chronically online people talking. People who, and like even people who like upload the videos and stuff like that. Um, it's people who, it's not fully representative of the way that people are in real life. Like people will go and see these videos of women saying XYZ reasons of why they hate men, and men saying the same thing, XYZ reasons of why they hate women. But I feel like those are just not pickpocketed, cherry picked examples. I feel like the majority of people, and from my experience talking to people, at least where I live, granted I don't, I can't be representative of everybody everywhere, but like the majority of people aren't that negative. the majority of people aren't that depressing and sad and just upset all the time. It's just and hateful too, especially like the majority of people aren't that hateful. It's just popular online because talking about positivity isn't as popular. And that's my opinion. I don't know how much of it is true, and I can't verify it, but based off of my personal experience, that's definitely true, right? But obviously, I'm just one dude in one specific circumstance. Like, my experience cannot overshadow what everybody else is going through, but that's my personal experience. And I feel like that is the truth. I feel like that's the truth. The truth is, people are overly negative online, but the real world is nowhere near that bad. And especially, again, talking about the gender war thing, it's like, I feel like it's a self-fulfilling cycle. I'm just going to go with the example. You have a bunch of posts of men or women talking about how they hate men or like XYZ thing about men, right? And that causes men to be bitter and hateful towards women. And, or even if it's just not negative, or even if it's not like I hate men, it can just be something as simple as popular videos going online of women being like, I only date 6'5" guys or whatever, right? 6'5" guys, is that the saying? What is it they usually say? I think it's 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot. It's not necessarily 6'5". Some people do have the standards as high as 6'5", but again, I feel like this is all overblown. Um, I think it's overblown, and I think it's just people looking for, and especially when it comes to like height stuff, right? I feel like it narrows down to people just looking for a reason to try and understand why women specifically don't like them. And the reason they attach to or they grow to the most is, well, it's because of my height. And for some people, that is absolutely the case. I'm not going to say that's not the case all the time. It is. Genuinely, there are some people that will only date people of a certain height and they will reject people that aren't. But I feel like it's getting overblown. You know what I mean? It's overblown. Um, I feel like there are many other different factors that go into it, and and I'm not necessarily saying that the men who are saying it's because of my height, I'm not necessarily saying that they're trying to overcompensate or that they are, just looking for excuses. For some of those men, I genuinely feel like they genuinely think that is the reason why, because they do see themselves as a huge, you know, magnet, if you know what I mean, in all other regards. But it's just that specific thing that's narrowing them down. And that's unfortunate that people have that mindset. I do hope that people kind of are able to get over it. If that makes sense, does that make sense what I mean by that? Like, get over it. They're able to get over that wall and they're able to be like, you know what? There are other factors. It's not just this. I need to work on myself. Stuff like that. Because there are other factors that play into it. And again, obviously, with the Western market, market is probably a bad way, I should say. With the Western dating pool, yeah, being tall is an advantage. I'm not going to say that it isn't. It is most certainly an advantage. And there's a far more likelihood, or there's a far higher chance that you will get rejected for being too tall versus, sorry, being too short versus getting rejected for being too tall. That is substantially less likely, I would say. I think we can all agree on that. But that's not gonna, if it is make or break, then, clearly that's just somebody who you probably wouldn't want to be with anyways, right? I think the problem is people just have this assumption that like, because like I don't think anybody really has a problem with preferences in general. I think the problem is that men feel like it's more overwhelmingly stacked against their odds, short men specifically, feel like it's more overwhelmingly stacked against them than it really is. And part of that is because of social media. They see, you know, all of these women talking about like this, that, right? I only date men that are this height, whatever. And they see far, far less of women being like, actually, it doesn't really matter. And of course, that content exists. It's just less popular. So they don't see it. And thus, they get this skewed perspective, this skewed view of the way that people actually work, which is, I guess, the point of the message is, if you do see all this negative stuff online, take it with a grain of salt. It could be true. It could be based in fact, but take it with a grain of salt because it's not as clear cut as the internet will like to make it seem. There's some truth to it. There is some evidence-based fact off of it as well, but it's not like just that black and white. You know what I mean? It's there's shades. There's shades. You know. Speaking of shades, I should add a shade turret. That's completely unrelated or complete coincidence that I just so happen to think about shade turrets. But I mean, that's for the people watching the gameplay. I just added a shade turret right there. Boom. Complete coincidence. I'm not joking. I didn't think about that in advance. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Less negativity is always good. Oh, and I've also started to really try and my best to avoid inserting myself into scenarios where either I'm not informed enough or I feel like there's more to the story than what is being told. I think a perfect example of that is whenever I see people talking about, like, especially women, if they're talking about like most men do this or most men do that, right? Or like they're, especially if it's like just their experiences with men or whatever, right? Like a couple years ago, like not even that long ago, like about a year ago, I would be the kind of person who'd be like, well, actually this and that and this and that, right? But I've started to be obtain the mentality less and less of I don't really need to defend other men that I don't know. I will defend statistics if it makes sense. I won't do it all the time, right? I will defend the statistics if it makes sense or point them out or whatever. But I'm not going to go against people's uh, experiences. If that's their experience, that's their experience. And even if they lay it out as like a public fact, I just stay out of it. I'm just like, you know what? It's whatever. For example, I'll give a good example. There was a Instagram post of and this was sent to me. I don't go on Instagram and check out stuff on myself. It was sent to me. Uh and it was an Instagram post of a German woman's parking spot or whatever, right? It was literally it's like the dumbest stuff, right? The dumbest stuff to actually get mad about. And it was literally just a woman's parking spot for women. And people, or specifically men in the comment section, were going so up in arms about why isn't there a men's parking spot? And all the men were just like, this is biased, this is stupid. And all the women were just like, well, women are more likely to get attacked or whatever, right? And a part of me was going to be like, well, technically, men are actually more victims of crimes than women, blah, 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 blah. Which is true. You can go ahead and look up statistics. Every other crime except for, the sexual assault, men are more likely to be a victim. And just in general, because at least out of the reported statistics, and that was another reason I didn't mention it, but out of the reported statistics, um, men are just more likely to be involved in a crime in general, or like be a victim of a crime in general, like of any crime in general, than a woman is to be involved in any crime in general. Again, very generalized statistics, and this is also specifically for the US. I guess it's worth mentioning that as well because it varies on country. But I was going to go on that whole tangent. Then I realized I don't really care. I'm going to be honest. I really don't care. I don't care, and I don't care if these people know, and I don't care what these people think. They're not relevant to me. If people want to think that, or if people want to think XYZ, it's whatever. Now, if this was a debate and the person was actively talking to me, I might be more inclined to be like, well, technically XYZ, right? But even then, I still might not even mention it because I genuinely don't care. And this is the thing that I haven't always been that way. I have not always been the person with the mentality of like, I don't care. But, you know, it's getting to that point. It's getting to that point where it's just like, going and starting these arguments about topics that I'm not even 100% confident in, it's just not worth it. It's really it drains my energy, it wastes my time, and it's really just not worth it. Does it really matter to me that badly if people know this fact or whatever? It really doesn't matter. It like, you know what I mean? It's okay if people want to think something for the most part. And I will bring up facts, I'll bring up statistics if it makes sense, but I'm just going to stay out of it for the most part. I bring it up now to give an example, right? But even if you right now are listening to what I just said, you want to go on your tirade or about it, whatever. That's fine. I really don't care. I'm just giving out my. And you know what? I might not even be right, to be honest. I'm not even going to confidently say that what I said is 100% correct, because I don't know. I looked at the statistics a couple of times, so I'm pretty sure it's true. But if it's not, it really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if Germany or whoever thinks, hey, this will make it safer for women, cool. I really, genuinely do not give a rat's ass. If women want to have their own, or German women, or the government decides that women should have their own parking spot that's reserved for them, cool for them, good for them. It doesn't negatively impact me, especially because I don't live in Germany, but even if it existed in the US, I really don't care. If women want to have their own thing, if women want to do their own thing, or if any kind of particular group of people want to do their own thing, and it doesn't negatively impact me, then cool for them. Good for them. Now, it would be a different story if all of the parking was replaced with women parking and men weren't allowed to park. That would be a different story. I would go on a bit of a rant about that. Like that's ridiculous. But one parking spot that may or may not even make it safer for women. Good for them. I'm glad that they thought about it, and yeah, I mean, if you want to make the argument that in specific scenarios, especially in the scenario of that video, in specific scenarios, women are more likely to be a victim of a crime, which is 100% true. Same applies for men, but if women are more likely to be a victim of a crime in very specific scenarios, and this thing reduces that, then why the hell would anybody be complaining? Less people being a victim is a good thing. This doesn't necessarily result in more male victims, especially again if the odds are increased for women than men, then cool. I will say I feel like there's this weird stereotype of women, like there's the stereotype of women being weak and needing to be protected or whatever, and I feel like that's most represented by women. Like like I was watching a video by I think it was Jen, and he was talking like interviewing people, and he mentioned like, oh, for a woman, you aren't allowed to wear what you want. It's scary to be a woman because XYZ. You aren't allowed to wear what you want. Blah blah blah. Right? And and somebody pointed out in the comments, which I thought was funny. It's like, no, you're not allowed to wear what you want as a woman. Says the purple-haired young woman with a crop top out in public. And I'm like, you raise a fair point, right? Like you're saying you're not allowed to wear what you want, and you're literally wearing something that a man would get ridiculed and criticized for doing. But if a woman were to wear men's clothing, people wouldn't care. That's a whole different story. That doesn't. Again, I'm bringing up points. It doesn't really matter, right? But um, again, I feel like the whole women being like too weak to take care of themselves. I feel like that's more propagated by women themselves. Like, I don't know. Is this just me? I can't be alone in thinking this, right? I feel like it's the women that are saying that more than anything. In fact, I think a lot of the stuff that goes around with women, not even stereotypes, but like negative traits about being a woman, I feel like a lot of that is either caused by women themselves, or in fact, it can even be heralded by women themselves. I'll raise another example. This is, I think, a very good example. There was a video of a man that was reading. It was meant to be a funny video, but of course, the internet being the internet, they went on a tirade in the comment section, right? But it was a man who was reading all of the side effects of birth control, right? And it was like a funny video thing. If you watch the video, you know what I'm talking about. And everybody in the comment section was losing their mind. Um, and one of the interesting points that I both brought up and that a lot of other women brought up is most, not most, but a decent chunk of women, like women were, a lot of the women in the comment section were like, we do all of this for you, blah 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 blah, right? And some women, and myself included, pointed out a decent chunk of women don't even do it for their boyfriends to not get pregnant. They do it because because of hormonal stuff, like whether it's puberty or whatever. That's why they do it. They don't do it for their boyfriends. They do it for themselves. So at that point, take that as you will. Is it really doing it for your boyfriend if the main reason you do it is for yourself? And do we really owe you anything in that regard? There's also the argument of like it would be different. Now here let me clarify, right? It would be different if your boyfriend is saying you should get birth control and like kind of like either indirectly or directly saying you should get birth control or whatever, right? And you go through all the negative consequences and all that stuff, right? That's a different story. This video didn't imply that. It implied that the girlfriend made that choice on her own decision. And, she partaked in it because she assumed that the negatives would outweigh the positives, as do, I imagine, many women who make that decision feel. They were like, yeah, there's some negative side effects, but the negatives outweigh the positives. At least that's the general rule. And yeah, I don't know. It was very odd how people got so butthurt about everything. Like, men were in the comments were talking about some like, uh, I don't even know what they said, but it was just some dumbass stuff that was just like, really, bro, really. And the women, well, I guess, were more sensible in a way, but there was still some dumbass stuff being spouted off. And I'm just like, this is just meant to be a funny little video. Like, you guys are just taking this shit way too seriously, bro. Like, just have fun. Just have fun. People just don't want to have fun anymore, you know what I'm saying? I'm overgeneralizing, right? There's a lot of overgeneralizations going on. But to be fair, everybody in that video was also overgeneralizing. So am I really in the wrong? Obviously not. I would never be in the wrong. Because I'm always right about everything. Totally. Unrelated to what I'm talking about, but I'm tempted to add a Wraith. Yeah, you know what? I'll add a Wraith. I'll add a Wraith. Should I get rid of the Scorpion? The Scorpion's so cool, though. I don't want to get rid of the Scorpion. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, um, yeah, that was just an interesting little thing I saw on the internet. The internet do be interneting. You know how to go. You know how it go. So I'll put it like right here. Boop. Um, there was another video. I can't remember what it was. I'm trying to remember what it was. It was talking about like mansplaining or whatever. I think it was mansplaining. And somebody in the comment section brought up a fair point. And it was like one of the things I resonated the most with. This is kind of a bit off topic, but hear me out anyways. Um, the topic, the video topic was like about mansplaining, and somebody brought up in the comments like, I'm not mansplaining, I'm just autistic and don't understand when people get what I'm talking about. And I want to make sure people understand because I'm autistic and I don't understand social cues. And I'm like, boy, can I relate to that more than ever. Now, I've thankfully never been in a situation where someone has publicly called me out for mansplaining. Maybe they thought it, but I've always worried about that. I'm like, I hope people don't actually think that if I were to be in their eyes mansplaining, and you can make the arguments about whether mansplaining is a dumb term or whatever, right? Have your opinions on that, right? But going with the general logic of mansplaining, I just hope that nobody ever really thought that I was doing that at any point when I'm just autistic, bro. It's really that simple. I just I don't think things through and I say stuff and I talk and I ramble because I have autism and I have ADHD and I just like to talk. That's why I'm making a 29-minute and 41-second video talking about random stuff. I wouldn't be doing that if I just wasn't a person who would like to spout out random stuff. And make sure that whoever I'm talking to understands what I'm talking about, because that's just how I am. That's who I am as a person. Um, Anyways, another thing I'll point out too is there's this very interesting trend, which is kind of like nice to see in a way, because like I mentioned, all of the negativity about men and like shitting on men and like saying men are the worst, what right, what whatnot, right? But there's been I guess you could say a marginally heartwarming trend of women specifically, because men have been doing it forever, really, but women specifically who are kind of appreciating men as it is. They are not. They are both talking less shit about men. Like they're talking some like height doesn't really matter, stuff like that, right? Trying to like uplift and encourage men to live their own life, and also being against other women who do talk shit about men and stuff. And yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. And some of them get backlash for it, talking about some like you're a pick me and stuff like that, right? Kind of like the female equivalent of being called a simp because you defend women, kind of thing. And that's a whole different story. But uh, and to be fair, there are some people that do go a bit above and beyond. I think let's clear the line straight. Can we all agree? Can we all agree that being a simp or being a white knight or being XYZ negative thing only really applies if you are doing it while putting down other men. Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that? That's the interpretation slash definition of it. As in, if you are just being a person who is defending a woman's side on things, even if it's against another specific man, as long as you're not like degrading or shitting on other men, especially in general, it's not really being a simp. It's just you being a nice person. Like if somebody were to say like this guy, like if a woman were to say this guy did this mean thing to me, and a guy were to say, well, that guy is a dickhead slash asshole, you shouldn't give him respect. That's not really simping. That's just you thinking like, I'm looking out for you. Now, if he said all men are trash, just don't even talk to us, we are garbage. Now that's simping, right? I don't even know if that's simping. That's more just like I don't even know what that term is. White knighting, I guess. Hoping that the woman will be like, oh yes, please, I love it when you degrade yourself, which some women like that, I guess. But that's if you're gonna use the definition, that's like the the standard I have of like you got to be at that kind of level. Otherwise, it's not really white knighting or simping. You know what I mean? Like, well, let's not over like I think simp is a pretty cool word. Let's not overuse it to the point where it has no meaning because that would be unfortunate. I think it's a pretty cool word. I mean, that's already too late. But for future words, you know, I say that as if I have really any control. I don't have any control over what other people say, but perhaps if I do choose to use a word one way or another, then maybe people will have a better understanding of why I chose the word. I don't know. It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Unrelated, but I think my map is looking pretty good. I added basically everything I wanted, I think, right? I added every single weapon, except for the weapons I don't want to add, like the Spartan Laser and the Gravity Hammer and the Sentinel Beam. Like, I don't want to add those weapons. I added every vehicle I wanted, I think. Let me go through the list of vehicles. Spectre, Warthog, Scorpion, Ghost, Wraith, Banshee. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I added every vehicle. Uh, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this map. I think it's looking pretty fun. There are a couple weapons I cannot delete, like this needler right here. I can't delete it. It's not a forgeable item. It just exists as part of the map. Same with this SMG right here. But oh well, I'm just gonna have to live with it. Very cool map. Whoever made this. I guess I'll just end it for that recording. Is there anything else I want to talk about? I don't know. I think this was a very interesting recording. I hope you guys had fun listening to me ranting about stuff. I'm going to continue to do this because I think it's fun. I think it's enjoyable. I like talking about stuff. And what do you think I'm going to name this map? I'm going to name it Relic Halo 2 plus Halo 3. Oh, okay. I'll do 2 plus 3. How about that? Okay. And then map description, Relic with both Halo 2 and Halo 3 assets. Am I going to end this recording here? I think I will. I'm going to end this recording. I might make another recording. There might be another part, but hope you guys enjoyed me randomly talking about stuff while I work on a Forge World map. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care, peace, and bye-bye.